Folks, stuck in a disaster you could have avoided. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending October 23, 2024. I was speaking with a couple that's looking to sell their home. Now, I'm going to explain to you their situation the way they explained it to me. They purchased this home a little over 6 months ago. Now, when they went to their first showing of the home, before I tell you that, I kind of got to explain the driveway situation. There's a detached home. The home beside them is also detached. They have a mutual driveway that leads into the backyard where there's a garage. But the front, where the mutual driveway is kind of split, on their lawns, the driveway is actually widened in the front where they can park one car on their house, one car on the neighbor's house. That doesn't interfere with the driveway, because the rules are pretty straightforward with mutual driveways. You can't park in the mutual driveway blocking your neighbor's access. But the front kind of has like parking pad on both sides. It was designed this way from the very beginning. The whole neighborhood is built this way. You could park a car on either side and the driveway is free if you want to drive in and out. Well, when they showed up for the showing to go look at this property, they parked on that parking pad in the front. The neighbor immediately came out, started yelling at them that they're blocking the driveway. He was pretty aggressive and racist in his remarks. And they just took it as, they got kind of afraid. They apologized. They moved the car a little bit and put it closer to one side. But when they're explaining it to me, they told me like we weren't in any way blocking the driveway. But he was upset. Maybe there was a bunch of other showings that have come before and they blocked the driveway and he was just aggravated. That's how they took it. There was no excuse whatsoever for raising his voice and the racist remarks. For sure, no excuse for that. But they went on and proceeded with looking at the home, and they really liked it. So they book a second showing with their parents this time to come and look at the home. And the same thing happened. This guy, when they parked in the driveway, this guy came running out and again started yelling at them to move their car. Like, you figured that they would know by now, and they parked better. And they said, look, we parked closer, but this guy came out again, started yelling for no reason and was racist, and our parents are there. And it was a very uncomfortable, bad situation. But they went in, started looking at their home. Their parents are also liking the home. But there's lots of loud music coming from outside. So when they went into the backyard, that same racist neighbor was having some sort of event going on in the backyard, loud music, friends were there, mostly all males, drinking. They're having a party in their backyard. And so the people that called me were continuing to look at the home and left. And when they were talking about the home with their parents, the parents said, yeah, we like the home, but you got this issue of this neighbor. Maybe consider looking somewhere else, buying a different home, not living next to this neighbor. Consider that. The kids did not take that advice. They thought, what's he going to do? Once we're living there, he's in his home, we're in our home. What's the difference? So they ended up buying the home. And whatever issues they had with this neighbor during the showings before they owned the home just got perpetually worse. The whole car situation just continued. It was just a reason for this neighbor to yell at them. There was way more racist things that were going on. That party that he had in the backyard, that wasn't a once-off thing. It was multiple times a week. He'd have his buddies over drinking till late hours of the night. They were uncomfortable being in their own backyard because this neighbor, he had two crazy dogs also barking and aggressive, and each time they'd be near the fence, the dogs would freak out. These people that call me were just like, I could sense it in their voice. Maybe I'm bringing it across now and describing it. They were just tense, frustrated, nervous. They tell me they try to avoid being home for the weekends. They try to avoid having friends and family come over just because it's become so uncomfortable living next to this person. Now, there's all sorts of situations out there where people don't get along with their neighbors. Many times this is something that develops down the road. It's something that develops over a disagreement that, neighbors have with each other. There's all sorts of reasons this can happen. It's not too often that you see the signs up front. Sometimes we do. I have buyers where we'll go to a home, we're looking at it, and when we're on, say, the second floor looking into the neighbor's house, we can see that this person's a hoarder or doesn't keep it properly, or we could see sometimes from the front the way the neighbor's house is kept, and it does turn my buyer clients off sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't, and they just move forward and they buy. But this neighbor also with their racist remarks, you got to wonder, I often put myself in their situation and think, would I have purchased this home? And that's what I'm asking you, because if you saw the signs that these people saw, would you still have moved forward and purchased this home? Let me know in the comments below. Look, it's easy to say after the fact. These people now are in a bad situation. They want to sell, and they're going to lose a ton of money doing it. They've only been there about 6 months. They're going to lose a ton of money. This is a situation they got themselves into, knowing what their neighbor is like. What would you have done in their situation? Would you still have purchased this home? Let me know. If you feel this video can help somebody please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. There's a link up here to my calendar, another one below in the description. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. We're focused on detached properties for the Peel and Durham region. Specifically, we're going to be focused on detached properties in Mississauga, in Brampton, and for Durham, we're going to be looking at the Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample, but detached properties only. Here's a summary of average sold prices. We're going to start off with Mississauga for week ending October 23rd. 44 detached properties were sold. The previous week was 43, which was actually Thanksgiving weekend. And normally we see a big drop in sales, and we're seeing that in some of the other areas. Not so much here, and 43, 44 is kind of in line to where we've been, except for the 1 week where we sold 52. It's kind of normal since the beginning of the fall, since September 11th, September 18th, we've been just at the bottom end of the 40s as far as sales go. So 44 were sold. 5 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price down a little bit from the previous week to $1,432,000. Now we're going to look at another chart that shows a 4-week moving average to kind of plot which way prices are going. But when I look at this chart here and I kind of try to average out and kind of see the direction overall of sales over time, like if we look at earlier in the year, we could see average prices have come down from then. But if I just look at the fall market, there's so many like really peaks and valleys. I think overall though, price doesn't seem like it's moved very much, but we'll have a closer look at that. Compared to last year, 1,432,000 is 2% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 5% lower. So here's a chart with the 4-week moving average. Yeah, the dotted line maybe down slightly over the last 4 or 5 weeks or since the middle of September. The median price kind of shows like it's dropping a little bit more, but not by much. It's just slightly sloping down overall. 44 were sold, 11% sold at list price or more. Listings overall trending down. Active listings currently for week ending October 23rd, there are 700 detached properties in the city of Mississauga available for sale. 44 were sold, but there's 700 to choose from. Months of inventory, it's down a little bit over the last few weeks, but not by much. We're sitting at 3.7 months of inventory, almost in the middle of what we would consider a balanced market, which is between 3 and 5 months of inventory. So 4 would be right in the middle. This is 3.7. Here is Brampton. 50 detached properties were sold for week ending October 23rd. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. Now 3 is more than we normally see in Brampton, selling at $2 million or more. If we look at, there's one here, July 31st. We got to go all the way back to February where we had 4. All the other weeks in between, it's either 0, 1, or 2 selling at $2 million or more. So this week, special week, we had 3, 50 of them were sold. 50 is about normal than what we've been seeing in the fall market as sales go. Average sold price been kind of creeping up over the last couple of weeks. It's now $1,174,000. 1174, 7% higher versus this time a year ago. The median price is 2% lower. And if we look at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, since the middle of September, kind of looks like average price, it's been coming down, but right at the end going up. And if we look at the median price over the since the beginning of October, the end of September, median price is pretty predominantly coming downward. So let's see how that develops over the next few weeks. 50 were sold, 36% sold at list price or more. Listings trending down. Active listings, there are 865 available for sale detached properties in Brampton. And months of inventory, pretty much similar to where we've been since the end of September. We're now at 4 months of inventory. Here's Durham. Now Durham, I said, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as the Durham sample. Big weekend sales. 61 detached properties were sold. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. I say big week because with 61 is much more than we've sold most of the summer. We sold back at the end of June 66, which was more common for April, May, and June. 61, it's a big week. Average sold price up a little bit to $1,140,000. 1140 is 9% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. And if we look since the middle of September, average price and median price have been trending upwards. Although the last couple of weeks for median has been coming down. 61 were sold, 41% sold at list price or more. Durham is one of the more competitive areas when it comes to detached properties because of the average price point. Listings, 102 were listed, 485 are available for sales. So listings have been trending down, but not as aggressively as we're seeing in some of the other areas. And months of inventory, if I can get oh, here it is, 1.8 months of inventory. Let me just go back. 1.8 months of inventory, which is extremely low. Very much in the middle of either 0 or 3 months of inventory and above, we say is a balanced market. So 1.8 is kind of in the middle there. Here's a summary of months of inventory. Mississauga and Brampton, predominantly a balanced market. Ajax, Pickering, and Whitby, seller's market or a balanced market. Depends on price point, neighborhood. But be prepared. If you're looking for a detached property in the Durham region, you may be competing. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.